Hello everyone, my name is Kieran and welcome back to Red Devil Weekly. Today I'm going to be talking about our game tomorrow, our big game against West Ham United, and it is a big one, it really is. A win would mean that we just have to avoid defeat against Leicester City on the last day of the season to get top 4 and get into the Champions League. And also a win tomorrow means that we go third before Chelsea play Liverpool, and I really do hope Liverpool can get the job done and do us a favour. Obviously they won't want to think of it like that, but it is. If they beat Chelsea and we win our game, it is a huge favour they've done for us. But that's obviously just worrying about the results. We have to focus on ourselves at this point in the season. 2 games to go, we know how it is. If we win both those games, we get top 4. Easy. That is the equation. That is all the players should be thinking about right now. There's no more distractions with the FA Cup or any other competition now. It's just these last 2 league games, and then you've got the Europa League in 2 weeks' time. So no more distractions, nothing these players can blame, no potential excuses for these players not to get top 4 now. It's all about these next 2 games, and I'm looking forward to it. I really am. When you get to this sort of part of the season, it does get very tense, but you know what? That's what we want as football fans, these tense moments, these nail-biting games, these important games. That's what we've been lacking as Manchester United fans over these last few years, and finally we've got some last day drama. And hopefully it goes our way. If it goes our way, obviously, it's so good and we can really remember it. If it doesn't, then it's heartbreaking. But hopefully everything goes to plan. But if we win this game against West Ham, it will be a decent amount of the weight that is going to be on our shoulders going into that final day will be lifted if we get those 3 points against West Ham. Welcome to everyone that's joined. Liam, FootballFan148, Dazza, and Footy Live Tom. I will get you on in just a second, mate. Don't worry about that. I know you've got another podcast to be on, Red Devil Studio. Make sure you do check out Red Devil Studio if you haven't already. Great content on there, so make sure you do check that out if you haven't already. But yeah, listen, I will be starting the calls a bit earlier tonight just because obviously I do want to get people on and make sure everyone has their say. But just quickly on the word on West Ham. West Ham are safe. They're mathematically safe after their 3-1 victory at home to Watford. And that was a very decent result for us, actually, because the fact they now go into this game knowing they're safe, you could potentially see a West Ham that are on the beach, that was still drunk from celebrating. And we need goal difference as well. Like, a win is fantastic and I'll be happy enough with a win, but if we can actually start chalking off goal difference and just making it easier for us on the final day, making it less nervy on the final day, that is what this West Ham game is going to be. It's a massive opportunity if we can do that. If we can't do that, then it's a big missed opportunity. And if we don't beat West Ham, I'm not confident of beating Leicester. I'm going to be honest with you guys. If we can't beat West Ham at home, what chance do we have of beating Leicester at home? Or away from home, sorry. What chance do we realistically have if we can't beat Leicester? So for me, this game is a big one, and if we win it comfortably and emphatically, it will send a big statement to the likes of Leicester, who are hoping for us to slip up, and Chelsea as well. If we actually end up beating West Ham tomorrow, because Chelsea play after us, we put all the pressure on Chelsea, because we will put Chelsea into 4th place for the time being, and if they get beaten by Liverpool, then there's a chance, a very small chance, but a chance Chelsea, after all this, after being in the top 4 for practically the whole season, might not even get into the top 4, which would be almost crazy to think about. Both Chelsea and Leicester have been in the top 4 for pretty well the whole season. Leicester has not dropped out of the top 4 since September, and they are in real danger of not getting top 4. For us, it's a different story because we have kind of been progressing towards this target. So it's a completely different story, really, in terms of that. But I'll read a few of you guys' comments right now. FootballFan148 says, Dazza, finally, after 7 matches, I finally got a win against you as Chelsea beat Manchester United. Yeah, listen. Look, we have to put that in the past. At the end of the day, it's an FA Cup. It'd be nice to win it, but it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. It's all about that Champions League football. If we don't get Champions League football, then you can't attract the players who you want to attract in terms of progression for next season. you're not gonna get it if you can't attract the players, if you can't bring in the big names. So for me, Champions League football is much more important at this stage. Obviously, you want to win trophies, but you need to get that Champions League football. You need to get the revenue from it, especially in these times as well, because it's hard to come by. So you do need to get. We need to get back in the Champions League. That's all I'm saying. So you know what? I've got over that now. I don't mind about that now. We just have to focus on the job at hand tomorrow. And if we get Champions League, then that'll all be in the past. No one will care. No one will care. But yeah, I'm going to call Tom now because I did promise him to get on. I know he's going to be starting his podcast in about 7 minutes, so I'm not sure how long the conversation is going to be, Tom. To be honest, if you need to go, just at any point during the conversation, if you want to let me know that you need to go or whatever, then please do so. But yeah, I'm going to be calling Tom. You guys will know him if you've watched the previous streams. And if you haven't watched the previous streams, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are new as well. So we're going to call Tom here, get him on, see what he has to say. Issa, how you doing? Thanks for joining. He says, hey mate, massive game tomorrow, hoping we can capitalise on the defeat and move forward. Top 4 is the main priority right now. Let's put our heads down and play the United way. Couldn't have said it better myself, Issa. We need that 3 points tomorrow, and it'll be a big weight off our shoulders if we do get it. Tom, mate, I'm not going to keep you for long, but thank you so much for coming on at short notice. Really appreciate it. And hopefully you're doing well today. I'm just going to get straight into it. This game against West Ham, on paper, playing West Ham at home, we should be getting an easy 3 points. But do you think it's going to be as easy as that, or do you think West Ham are going to turn up to prove a point?
Well, like I've said before, I've said it all week really. If there's one manager in the whole Premier League who's got an axe to grind against Manchester United at the moment, it's David Moyes. You know, we treated him like crap, let's be honest.
True, yeah.
You know, who gets rid of a manager after 8 months? You know, the biggest club in the world, supposedly, in Man United. Who does that, you know? So he's going to have an axe to grind of costing United Champions League football. That's inevitable. Any team who comes to Old Trafford is going to relish the chance of playing here, regardless of if they're playing for something or not. You know, it's the biggest ground in the Premier League, if we're not including Wembley, because nobody plays at Wembley apart from the international team in the FA Cup. It's the biggest ground in the Premier League in terms of capacity. So any team who's going to come here and play, it doesn't matter if you're any team from the Premiership to League Two, you know, it's a dream to play at an amazing stadium like Old Trafford. You know, they've got players who can hurt you. Mikel Antonio's a definite danger man. I think he's got 5 goals in his last 3 matches or something, which is something we're going to have to watch out for. But I just want to briefly just go over something that happened with the Chelsea game, obviously. Let's just say 2 players need to get their head out of the sand, really, to be honest with you, because the 2 players that I'm labelling here is Victor Lindelof and David De Gea. Now, I know you came out on the Chelsea post-match show and you fully defended David De Gea for what he's done for us over the years and everything. And I do agree with what you said in that aspect, but when you actually look at it, for the past 18 months, so halfway through last season and nearly all the way through this season, I can calculate 4 games off of the top of my head where he's cost us points, and we've lost. And when you think about it, that's 3, 6, 9, that's 12 points he's cost us then, and we're challenging for the top, and we're trying to get into the top 4. Them 12 points could be the difference. We'd be in the Champions League already. Would have qualified. And I'll tell you the 4 games. There was the Bournemouth game recently where he got beat at the near post by Stanislas. That should have never happened. Yeah, you can blame Harry Maguire for getting nutmegged, or, you know, that happens with defenders sometimes. That happens with defenders sometimes. They have an off day, exactly the same at goalkeeper, so I'll give him the benefit of doubt. The Arsenal game where we lost 2-0 at the Emirates, where he had the ball in his hand and he dropped it straight to, I think it was Socrates or David Luiz's feet, and they just smacked it in the net. That was 2-0, game done and dusted, you lost points there. The Everton game, when Calvin pounced on David De Gea not taking too long on the ball, you know, that ball went in the back of the net, we drew that game, we lost points there. You know, and the FA Cup, David De Gea, if he can't be motivated to play at Wembley, semi-final for crying out loud, if you can't be motivated to not make these mistakes at a semi-final, then is the question, is the right man to be in the net at Man United? I look at Liverpool. They got to the Champions League final, and Loris Karius made 2 goalkeeping errors, and Jurgen Klopp outed him straight away in the summer. He was gone. Alisson was straight in the door. New goalkeeper, straight. That's that ruthlessness. That's what I'm talking about. And we've got a goalkeeper waiting there in Dean Henderson. And I just want to talk about this briefly. David De Gea, when he's made these goalkeeping errors, and we look at the weekend, people have come out on social media in the media, in the newspapers, have been blitzing him and everything, saying he needs to be dropped, he needs to be this, he needs to be that. David De Gea has cost us the points that I've said this season, which we would already have qualified for the Champions League if these mistakes wouldn't have happened in the game, because we would have gone on to win them games, most likely, or got a point. So when you actually think about it, David De Gea has dropped us points this season, exactly the same with mistakes from Lindelof. But whenever has David De Gea come out, like, prime example would have been the Chelsea game, just that we've just lost. Did he come out on live TV and do an interview with there was millions of United fans watching that game who've been embarrassed by 2 goalkeeping errors, and then he's not come out on national TV as apologised for what he's done. I think that's huge disrespect. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has had to apologise for him. Yeah, he's the manager, who's supposed to do that. But David De Gea, he's been at the club a decade, like you stated last week. He's been at the club 10 years. Was a prime target to become the captain. He's on 375k a week, for crying out loud. And you're making these mistakes. He's the highest paid goalkeeper in the world. People forget that he's the highest paid goalkeeper in the world.
True, yeah.
And I don't get how people can still call him the best goalkeeper in the world. I don't. 18 months, nearly 2 years of just rubbish performances that's cost your team points. It's astonishing. And I don't particularly think with this goalkeeper we can win something, because there's always going to be that doubt in fans' minds. Like, there's always that doubt in my mind now. If a player like, I don't know, we take Kevin De Bruyne, for example, shoots from 35 yards, how do we know David De Gea is going to catch the ball properly? And then there's just Gabriel Jesus there to tap it in, 1-0. And these are the worrying things. Whereas I look at a prime example, Dean Henderson. I'll throw this question to you now, Kieran. I just want you to answer this, right? If Dean was in the net for Manchester United on Sunday against Chelsea, do you think Dean Henderson would have saved the 2 errors that David De Gea made?
I think an on-form Dean Henderson saves them both. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So then you're still in the game, because the game would have been 0-0 because the penalty happened after the 3 goals went in, obviously. So the game would have been 0-0. So we're still in the tie. We're still in the semi-final. And if David De Gea is going to do this there, we've got 2 crucial games coming up against West Ham, which is a must-win, and Leicester's a must-win to qualify for the Champions League. Then this is kind of worrying, because you've got a goalkeeper you can't rely on. You've got a centre-back in Victor Lindelof who's going to be targeted like hell by Mikel Antonio and Jamie Vardy in the next 2 games, because he is the weak link out of the 2. So before you know it, we're talking about Man United having this amazing attack and everything that can score goals freely, this and this. You need a defence to actually keep the goals out. Let's not forget that, goals don't win you goals win you games, yes, but clean sheets and good performances from your defence is more important than scoring goals, in my mind. And a prime example is Jose Mourinho. He's a defensive manager, but the Mourinho plays, he gets a goal ahead, and then his team will keep a clean sheet. But he's won the game, so it doesn't matter. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Prime example, the Leicester game went 3-0 up. He's won the game. Just see the game out now. Defend. Prime example there. And this is why we've said I think it's quite clear this team still needs improvement. Right winger, CDM, centre back. There's improvements to be made.
Yeah.
Dependent on we get the Champions League football, on that will depend on what player we can bring in those positions that I've just mentioned. Moving on to the West Ham game, tactically, he's got to get it right. People were saying he didn't necessarily get the formation right and stuff. I do think it'll be the normal formation. You know, chuck the best players out there. But somebody made a comment. I can't remember who it was in a couple of videos ago, and they said Luke Shaw has been the missing link, really, in our team when he's been injured for the Palace game and for the Chelsea game.
Yeah.
And when I actually went back and I watched the game, I did see what they meant by that, because he does get up the field. He's solid defensively, but he does also get up the field and help out in attack, and it's another option then for the attackers. And I think that spurs on a player like Rashford to know that he's got that help behind him. Really, he doesn't have to do it all by himself. He's got that help on the left-hand side, and that gives us another option then, you know, going forward. And then Rashford can move more into the box maybe and get where the goals are, if Shaw can put a ball in. So I think it just depends on if Shaw plays and stuff. The way you beat West Ham, you know, I think we know what the game plan's going to be. It's going to be set pieces. It's going to be basically like what Burnley do, really. Do the best from set pieces, and just sit back, hit you on the counter-attack, long balls up to Mikel Antonio, hold the ball up and bring the other players into the fray, really. That's going to be the game plan from West Ham. The way you beat it, West Ham, for me, are not going to press us. And I'll tell you the reason why. They don't have the players to press you for 90 minutes. Chelsea had the players to press us for 90 minutes. That's why we played so poorly. Like Palace, they did press us for most of the game. Exactly the same with Southampton, but they couldn't keep it up for 90 minutes. And that's what you get. When you play the smaller teams, they can't do that for 90 minutes against you, so it's not much as a worry. But when you play something like a Liverpool or a City, who have players who are fit as a fiddle, they will press you to the last minute. Believe, you know, and it's, can you break that press? And we haven't got that player in the team now who is that player who can break that, should we say, that press. For me, I think that's what we need to look at in the market. You know, we need to look at that CDM. Like I've said, Matic, he's not that player to play up, really. You know, he's not that player who can just turn and you know, a pressing player and then boom, you're off. You know, the press has been broken and let's go. You know, he's not that player for me. We need somebody younger. Prime example, if I'm a Liga Solskjaer, we play tomorrow, I would have the notepad out and I'd watch what Declan Rice does. He has been a player who's been linked with us in the last couple of months and everything. People rate and people don't. He is a young player who can develop. He's going to cost you, a little bit of money. Fair enough. But as a long-term successor to Nemanja Matic, I don't think he's a bad option.
No.
People can shout Ndidi out there. Ndidi, we're probably going to have to pay maybe another 80 million to go and get him. You know, we was wanting to pay 70 million for Maguire, but we ended up paying 80. We'll probably end up wanting to pay 60 million for Ndidi, but we'll probably have to pay 70. So it's a case of watch and learn from other players. And I haven't actually mentioned this. With my prediction for the Chelsea game, I did say Giroud had scored.
Yeah.
I made that very clear. Giroud, man, keep him on lockdown. Lindelof was the man who was on him and I think that was the only point that Lindelof was on him for the whole match. The rest of the match, it was Harry Maguire who was on him. And obviously he took advantage of the weak link in Lindelof, like I've said, and he took advantage of that and he scored. You know, so it's a case of shore up the defence. If Luke Shaw's back, that's a massive bonus, like I've said. I do agree with the guy's point. I can't remember what the guy's name was, but credit to him for what he said. I completely agree with what he said, that Luke Shaw is integral to the team. I wouldn't... You know, we know that I don't think I need to name the team to put out there. You know, in terms of what's been said in the media and stuff, David De Gea needs to be dropped. He needs to be this. I do believe David De Gea shouldn't be... for me, he isn't the number one for Manchester United next year. That's just my opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I do think Dean Henderson is going to be the England number one probably in the next year. You know, Jordan Pickford's terrible. He's going to be the England number one ahead of Jordan Pickford. And I do see him as being the long-term successor to David De Gea. Whether we're going to stick with De Gea or not is another question. You know, I don't necessarily think he'll leave. I think Ollie would demote him to second goalkeeper maybe, and Romero would go. You know, or Lee Grant's retiring, so then it'll just down the pecking order. But like I say, the next 2 games are crucial. It's going to determine what we bring in the summer. Like I've already said, we need to still improve this team. There's still falters in this team that need to be improved. And when you don't play in Europe's major competition, you know, the Champions League, it's harder to attract these players. I'm looking at, and prime example is Chelsea. The transfer window has not even been opened, and they've already bought 3 players. Because they already bought Ziyech near the beginning of the season, when the season started. They bought Werner recently. Now it looks as if they've gone and got a deal for Kai Havertz. You know, they're 3 players who I'm sure many United fans would love at Manchester United. You know, the transfer window's not even open and they're making signings. So why can't... What's the difference between us going and signing Jadon Sancho now, or at least having a deal agreed? Maybe not signed, but agreed. You know, and this is what I mean about, say, I could talk for hours, Kieran, about Ed Woodward, about the board and everything. You know, you could talk for hours about what's wrong with it. You know, there's nothing right with it, apart from they make you hundreds of millions of pounds in commercial fees and stuff. But in terms of... We basically need to get the Champions League. It's clear we've not been in the Champions League this season. We couldn't bring in the main players that we wanted. Jadon Sancho was a target last summer. We couldn't bring him in because we didn't have the Champions League football. That's the reason, apparently, why we didn't get him last summer. So if we get him, you know, get the Champions League this year, you're going to attract better players. You're going to improve your team. You know, miles better with the players that you can actually bring in. And obviously, with what other teams are doing around us, Chelsea's buying players. You know, I've already made my predictions. I do think United will get the top 4. Like I say, tomorrow is a prime example to put it in our own hands, because depending on what happens with Chelsea and Liverpool, we could sit in 3rd tomorrow. Personally, I'm sitting on the fence, but I do think it'll be a draw. The Chelsea-Liverpool game, that is. So it would stick us into 3rd, I think, would it? It would. Because we're only a point there. They'd be a point behind, and then Leicester would still be free. Like I say, we win tomorrow. Win tomorrow by 3 goals. You know, we've qualified for the Champions League, really, because if Leicester beat us, they're going to have to beat us by 4 goals to 0. Can I see it happening with the way they've been playing at the moment? No. Stranger things have happened, though, so you never know. It can always happen. But, you know, putting us in that bracket tomorrow, just go in there, like we said against at the Palace game. It doesn't matter if it's an own goal, if it's a corner goal, if it's a goal kick that's gone in the back of it. It doesn't matter. You know, just get the goals. You know, get a goal, get the 3 points, move on. And then we can obviously go to the Leicester game, attack that. And like I said, you know, the Chelsea, it is disappointing because there was a trophy there to be won. But it's not the end of the world because, you know, get the Champions League football. You know, we can laugh at Arsenal because they're not going to be playing in the Champions League next year. You know, they can have their FA Cup all they want if they even win it. You know, I'm not too bothered about that, to be honest. Like I said, you know, if you want to win a trophy, go and have a bash in the Europa League, you know. Would you sooner win the Europa League or the FA Cup? Let's be honest, you'd sooner win the Europa League.
Yeah.
You know, and we're one of the favourites to go on and win that competition. So there's still a trophy to be won there this season. So it's not the end of the world. You know, qualify for the Champions League, go and have a bash at the Europa League, bring players in, and then obviously assessments on players such as Lindelof and David De Gea, whether the futures of the club are going to, you know, the days are going to be numbered or if it's already over. We'll see. I don't, you know, and I'm just going to put it to bed. I don't expect them to be dropped. There's 2 games to go.
Yeah.
What's the point in dropping him now? If you're going to drop him, you might as well have dropped him 7. You know, at the beginning of the restart, if you were going to drop him, you know, You might as well have just done it then. So just stick with him for now. Personally, Dean Henderson's the number one next season for me. I don't know what other people's opinions will be on that. But in terms of it, just get the 3 points. We'll move on. And, really, that's all I've got to say. In terms of score prediction, I've already said I'll take a 3-0 win. Yep. I think...
Sounds good to me.
I've got this weird thing. I think Martial will score a brace tomorrow. I think he'll get 2 on the score sheet. Do you know something? I always like to go for a surprise one. Because I said Giroud, obviously, last week. I said Pogba, and both of them came in. So I'm going to go for a surprise one again. Do you know what? I don't know. I bank my money on someone like Matic scoring tomorrow. I'm going to put Matic in there.
Ooh,
I don't know what. I don't know what. Just something outside the box or something different. He scored against Manchester City, that goal where he just turned and smacked it in the net. Something just as weird as that. He doesn't get that many goals for the team. Something is that. Like I say, 3-0, get the 3 goals. Leicester's got to beat us by 4 goals. Personally, can't see it happening. They might score 2 or 3, but I can't see them beating us 4-0. And like I say, then pretty much we've qualified for the Champions League for me. And then really, all these goals at the beginning of the season, getting to the top 4. And if we can, win a trophy along the way. If not, it's not the end of the world, like we say. And we'll just improve this team in the summer. And if we come out a challenge from there, we come out a challenge from there. But anyways, that's just my opinions.
Yeah, sounds good, mate. Yeah, listen, I mean, a 3-0 win for me, would just... I'd take that all day long, to be fair. 3 more... Add 3 onto the goal difference. And
exactly.
It's ultimately, even if we do slip up in this game, we've still got the safety net of playing Leicester, but it'd be much better to go into that last game.
You'd sooner have it, where you've got the major advantage on them.
Yeah.
3-0 seems... 2-0's all right. That's what I'm hearing, like a 2-0. 3-0's better because then they've got to beat you by 4 goals. Leicester, I don't think's beaten anybody in the season more than 3 goals. So it's going to have to be some record. Oh, no. No, I've made a balls up there. They won 9-0. They won 9-0.
Yeah.
They won 9-0. Yeah, but that's the only thing.
Yeah.
We're talking off the recent form. Can I see him winning 4-0? Personally, not. But anyways, thanks for having me on and everything, Kieran.
No worries, mate. It's always a pleasure.
Everybody in the chat, subscribe to Red Devil Weekly and everything for your weekly and daily content of Manchester United. Kieran, amazing host, amazing guy, deserves your support and everything. So yeah, drop him a like on the vid and subscribe to his channel because it means a lot to him.
Appreciate it, mate. Yeah, it does. Thank you so much for coming on, mate, as always. And hopefully we speak to you after the game as well.
Definitely will do.
Hopefully, yeah. So yeah, see you then, mate. And
see you later,
good one, mate.
Yeah, you too, man. See you later.
There you go. That was Tom, his thoughts. I'm going to read a few of the comments now before we take our next call. Because I know you guys have been commenting, and as you guys know, even when I'm talking to callers and things like that, I'm always reading what you guys have to say in the live chat. So keep your comments coming in. But yeah, a lot of you commenting. Welcome, Kasim. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate it. KC is your name now. KC. Anyway, yeah, Kasim. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate it. Thank you to TTX for joining as well, and Sam United. Make sure you check out Sam United, really good stuff on there. Make sure you check that out if you're a United fan, or if you are a football fan in general. Crazy Music Gaming, thanks for joining. Says Dean Henderson, he should be our main keeper next season when he comes back from Sheffield, because he's a really good young keeper at the moment. Listen, the De Gea Henderson debate is gonna rage on. It's gonna be a debate that's had pretty well all through the summer, I reckon. And it's difficult. I think, especially after that Chelsea game, it's made the debate even more difficult. So, I don't know. I could not make a decision. I think my personal kind of idea is that we will probably either let De Gea leave in the summer if he wants to leave, or we're just going to bench De Gea and take him out of the firing line. I still believe David De Gea is a better goalkeeper than Dean Henderson, but again, that's just my personal opinion. TCX's Henderson ain't ready, personally, someone like Andy Lunin. Well, I mean, I haven't seen Andy Lunin too much, to be fair. I'm not cultured like that, but yeah, I mean, look, Henderson for me he's a decent keeper. He's a decent young keeper, and obviously he would love to put on that Manchester United shirt because he dreams of it. You've seen him in interviews and stuff. He absolutely dreams of playing for Manchester United. But you've got to think that, is he ready to take on that responsibility? And if he isn't, then, you know, obviously you've always have to give players a chance. Players haven't become great players when managers don't give them a chance. So you've got to give them a chance. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting dilemma. But it's obviously all down to Solskjaer. I've just done that. Shouldn't have done that. It's all down to Solskjaer really, and what he's got to say on the matter. We don't make the decisions, but obviously we can have an opinion on it, which is great. All right, we'll get the next caller on. Yeah, as I said, make sure you do continue to get your thoughts in the live chat as we go through, and the comment section below as well. If you're watching as a video, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. And yeah, make sure you do check out all the channels that are mentioned as well in this live stream, like Dazza's Football Stand. Daryl, thank you so much for coming on, mate. Obviously, you had your week off after your birthday week. I want to ask, how was that for you?
Yeah, it was quite nice actually. It made a change, but I think at the same time it was quite weird actually because you just felt like, you know, because normally we celebrate my birthday with the whole family at the house. I'm on about our house here. But it was weird because normally, you know, it's the first time ever that I've celebrated my birthday without having the family round. And I mean, it was still quite nice. Yeah, I got some good stuff. Obviously, you'll have probably seen on the video.
Yeah, of course.
And obviously, one of the best birthday presents to get on YouTube was getting the 1,000 sub mark. You know,
of course.
It's been quite good, but with it being my 18th birthday, I wanted to celebrate with the family, and you know. But the holiday was nice. It was rather nice, I have to say. Went to a place near Scarborough, which I think a lot of people know where that is.
Sounds good. Sounds good to me.
North Yorkshire, but it was quite nice, and you know, really enjoyed it. Apart from the football,
of course, yeah.
And we beat Reading, so shut up, David.
Well, there you go. But that's, I mean, obviously a result tomorrow would add to all the great presents you got. And just to get into that, what are your thoughts going into this game? How do you see it going? And do you think West Ham could cause a little bit of an upset at Old Trafford?
You never know. These are the sort of teams that United to sort of underestimate this season, and I've never known anything like it from United this season. Because normally, you know, we've got a manager who, in a way, doesn't have much experience in the Premier League. It's his first proper season as a Premier League manager for Manchester United. It's his second actual full season, actually, because his first full season was actually with Cardiff. But it's his first season at United, and I think a lot of people have criticised him a lot. And you have to think about what he's done. He's got us 19 games unbeaten. I know we played terrible against Chelsea. We're going to have to see a massive improvement in this game. But we've got a few injury concerns. We've got Luke Shaw's out, so Brandon Williams is going to have to come in. Eric Bailly, who seems to be in a bit of a... he was sort of in a bit of a fit state at the minute, but he's not likely to play by the looks of things.
Yeah.
So we're having to rely on a back four of Williams, Lindelof and Maguire and Wan-Bissaka, which, to be honest, we're used to. So shouldn't be no problems there. But this is a game where we have to step up. You know, we have to step up to the mark. You know, if you're going to finish in the top four, you have to be winning games like this. And what really irritates me is the fact that last season United struggled against the top 6 teams and did well against the bottom half. This season, it's completely the opposite. We've struggled against West Ham before. We struggled against Southampton. Didn't get a win there, home or away. Bournemouth. Okay, I think we got 6 points from them, but they're a team who we've struggled against before.
Yeah.
And West Ham away this season was shocking. We just didn't turn up. And I have to say, their bloody stadium's like a ball. Literally. It's an awful stadium. Not suitable for football, in my opinion.
Nah.
But it irritates me by the fact that we're dropping points against poor teams. Burnley's a prime example because we never did well against them. And, you know, it's games like this that we have to be winning if we're going to get into the top 4. I mean, we said before, I've said it before to you before, that games like this, Sheffield United, we obviously mentioned it. You know, if there's any time to win games, it's this time now. We've got to be winning against West Ham, win against them, and we're practically secure. You know, we only need a draw out of Leicester. And that's not going to be easy. These are 2 tough games to end the season off with. However, it could have been a lot tougher. We could have had tougher games to finish on. And I'm looking at the table, and goal difference wise, you know, we're sort of evenly matched with them, really.
Yeah.
They're on, if I do the maths, they're on a plus 28 goal difference, and United are on also plus 28. So, you know, I think if we beat West Ham, then we're practically safe. Leicester will be relying on United losing against them. And of course, when it comes to the final game of the season, Leicester would need to get 3 points and obviously a few goals to go above us. But I think that result for Leicester at Tottenham, I think that's given them a big damaging blow. I think that's probably one of the results that's going to knock up their season.
Yeah.
And West Ham, they've got some good players. Yarmolenko, he tore us apart in the reverse fixture. You got Mikel Antonio, who's been scoring goals for fun recently. Obviously, Jordan Hugo now plays for them as well, former Middlesbrough man. Let alone he's terrible for them. He never plays. You got Jared Bowen from Hull City. I mean, since he joined them, I think West Ham haven't been amazing. I don't think he's been that great for them, to be quite honest. I mean, he's done well in the Championship for Hull, and it was all going to be a questionable decision as to whether he was going to do well at West Ham or not, and I don't think he has. I mean, he's got a couple of assists, but he hasn't done particularly amazing. Like a lot of people are saying, he's going to be the next new thing and stuff, and I'm like, well, I think you'll find that he might not be good enough for the Prem, and we've certainly really seen that, really. Fabianski's obviously a very good goalkeeper. I'm not gonna compare him to David De Gea, though, because all I'm going to say about De Gea is he's going to get dropped. I can guarantee it. If he doesn't get dropped, I think Ollie will get a lot of stick from United fans, because a lot of United fans have been asking for his head. I mean, I haven't been asking for his head, but I've definitely said that he has to be dropped. Because the game against Chelsea, the way he was playing, it was as if he was actually trying to score for Chelsea deliberately.
Yeah.
It was as if he was playing for Chelsea. I'm thinking, I mean, you know, the 2 goals that we conceded really could have been avoidable. Third goal, certainly. Even though that was an own goal, it still went in off De Gea. So he was really a 4-for-3 goals. But it was an appalling performance from him, and from the whole team. And we've got to really pick up the performances. And, you know, I think Ollie will go out with... I don't understand his decision-making of going for a back 3 against Chelsea, mind. I think this game, go back to the original 4-2-3-1, back to the basics. Obviously, start Williams ahead of Shaw, because Shaw obviously... Shaw could be playing, actually, but I don't think he will. I think he'll be on bench, because I don't think Ollie will want to take too many risks. And then, of course, you know, Greenwood, Pogba and Corda, they should have been starting against Chelsea. He shouldn't have made that many changes. And, these are the games you've got to be playing the first team players. You've got to, if you're going to get anything out of them. Because teams like West Ham are the teams we struggle against. And at home, obviously you mentioned earlier on paper, it's a team we should be winning against. Unfortunately, football's not played on paper. Otherwise, that would be great. Because on paper, United would be probably winning every single game. But, we didn't get anything against West Ham this season. Yet we got stuff against Man City. We got wins against Chelsea. We got a point against Liverpool. We got results against Leicester. We're getting results against all the good teams, but we're not getting results against all the lower teams,
Yeah.
And I just hope that we can go out there, put in a better performance, show a bit of desire for once, and, start popping up with a few goals, because we didn't look like scoring against Chelsea. The ball throughs were awful, I have to say. Bruno had one of the worst games I'd ever seen. Ball throughs were terrible. We couldn't literally do anything. Chelsea were rather compact defensively, and they cancelled us out. And then one thing we can't do is get caught on the break, because if we get caught on the break, Yarmolenko's going to pop up with a goal like he did in the last game. And we all know Yarmolenko's going to be the main player to watch out for. And there's also, obviously, as I said, Mikel Antonio. I mean, I think he scored 6 goals in the last few games. He's been an incredible run. And West Ham are a team you don't underestimate. I think if we're going to win this, it'll be tight. I don't think it's going to be a comfortable performance. I mean, I hope we do, but I just don't see how we're going to win by more than 1 or 2 goals. So if I was going to predict the game, 2-1, because I think West Ham will score, and I think it'll be Yarmolenko.
And then won't be surprised.
The good thing is, though, if we're leading at half time, I think we've been leading for 290 games at half time at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
A
really good record.
Never lost. So if we go in 1-0 up or 2-0 up at half time, we'll be safe because we don't lose. But we are known for dropping points late on, Southampton. So, it's do or die time for United. Fingers crossed that we can just pop up with the result.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, it's a much needed result if we get it. And as you said, I think it's going to be tight. For me, I think, I'm not going to get into my predictions just yet, but as you can probably tell by what I'm saying, I think West Ham are going to come with a bit of a point to prove. Even though they're safe, obviously I could be completely wrong, and they might just be, turning up, with their rubber rings and with their, kind of swimming costumes, about to go to the beach, and you have to play this game, because if they're already safe, you never know. They might just not care anymore. But I do think that with David Moyes at the helm, he'll want to prove a point definitely. But hopefully we get 3 points, as you said, Daz, and hopefully we get over the line and just take a bit of pressure off that Leicester game.
Yeah, mostly.
But yeah, mate, thanks for calling in, mate. Really appreciate it as always. And make sure you check out Daz's Football Stand if you haven't already. Really good stuff on there. Daz, thanks for calling as usual. Yep. And have a good rest of your day, mate.
Yeah, cheers, man.
See you later, Daz. Appreciate it. Darryl Johnson from Middlesbrough, northeast of England there. If you want to go check him out, make sure you check out Daz's Football Stand if you haven't already. Asian Gamer's joined us. Thanks for joining, Asian Gamer. Appreciate it. He goes, my guy, Darryl, what are you saying? He says, I think West Ham is winning and we have to beat Leicester for top 4. Yeah, listen, I think even if we do beat West Ham, if we beat West Ham, then all we have to do is avoid defeat against Leicester. If we draw against Leicester after beating West Ham, we will get top 4 because we'll have 3 more points than them. So that's why a win against West Ham is so big, because it takes so much of the pressure off that Leicester game. Yes, we could still lose, and I'm not saying we can't lose. We could definitely lose that game against Leicester. Leicester, away from home, are a decent outfit, even though they haven't really been playing too well recently. They got the 3 points in their last game against Bournemouth, and And they're a team, well, not in their last game, they're second to last game, but they're a team who, have two different sides that show up. They either have the shite Leicester that showed up, away at Bournemouth the other day, where they lost the game, or there's the Leicester that is absolutely scintillating and can take you apart. And I think also the fact there's added pressure on the line will mean they'll be really, really motivated to take the points off us, because of course they are. They know that if they beat us at home, they will get top 4. And if we can put in a really good performance against West Ham and a really solid performance, and add some more goal difference to the tally, we should be alright. We should be alright. But again, I think this West Ham game isn't going to be as simple as it seems. But to be fair, I said that about games like the Bournemouth game, and I pretty well said that about every game that we played since the restart. I've always said it's not going to be as simple as an easy victory, and some games have turned out to be. The Bournemouth game in the end was a pretty routine victory, even though we conceded twice in the game. The Brighton game was pretty routine, the Villa game. All these games have turned out to be pretty routine, so sometimes I think I'm worrying about nothing. But anyway, 4518, yeah, you can come on for a little bit, David, if you want. And then also I'm going to get Kasim on as well, because he's been very patient indeed. So, yeah, I'll get you on, David. So I'll call you, David. Don't worry about that, mate. Right, hopefully this works. As I said, keep getting your comments in, your thoughts in on the game, and all that good stuff. And I'm going to get into my score prediction as well, so make sure you're there for that. But David, thanks for coming on, mate. Appreciate it, as always. It might be the first, your debut on the channel. I'm not sure if you've called into the channel before, but if you haven't, hopefully you enjoy your debut and calling in on the channel. But thanks for coming on, really appreciate it. As a neutral fan looking at this game, how do you see it going?
Well, I think from a Manchester United point of view here, I think this game is pretty much, when it comes to qualifying for the Champions League, if you don't win this game, I think the game against Leicester pretty much could be your do or die moment.
Yeah, 100%.
When it comes to qualifying for the Champions League. And if you haven't recorded it already, West Ham, they have already beaten you once this season, the 2-1 win back at the London Stadium. So I think West Ham, they are going to make things difficult. They have got a really good squad. They've got some really interesting players, and I think they could really make it tough for Manchester United in this game.
Yeah, I think that, 100%. Listen, I think that, you're right. West Ham have beaten us 2-0 at the start of the season. And whilst we didn't have the likes of Bruno Fernandes or, other players like Martial and Rashford firing the way they are right now, Greenwood as well was in the team. But I still think against West Ham, we do have a little bit of a dodgy record. Obviously, at home to West Ham, it's not so bad. But whenever we play West Ham, they always give us a game regardless of where they are in the league. Last season we only beat them 2-1, and that was virtue of 2 penalty decisions. So, in the end of the day, it's always tough. It's always tight when we play West Ham. So, we've got to be on our toes. And I think, for me, David Moyes, especially being a former Manchester United manager, he's going to want to prove a point. So, I wouldn't be surprised if he really motivates the players. Who do you think the main danger men are for West Ham then?
Well, I think the main danger man, one is Felipe Anderson. I think if he starts tomorrow, I think he could really cause the Manchester United defence problems. He is really good, especially down the wings. I think he could cause you some problems. And I think Yarmolenko, I think he could definitely, again, give the Man United defence some problems, and perhaps, who knows, he may even score. He scored against us in the league, which I'm still not too pleased about.
Yeah,
really.
of course.
I think as soon as Yarmolenko came on, he was a constant threat against us. And I think he'll be the same against Manchester United. I mean, he's a top quality player. I mean, the goal he scored was top quality, and I think if Manchester United do not keep an eye on him tomorrow, I think he could really do the same again.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, as you said, he scored against you guys in the 3-2 win. Sorry to bring that up. He scored against us in the 2-0 win at the London Stadium as well. Yeah, he's got quality. There's no doubt about that. He's got genuine quality. I also think at Mikel Antonio as well. He's on red-hot scoring form for West Ham. He's someone we've got to look for, especially the fact that defensively in the last few games you haven't looked assured. Obviously, we've got the clean sheet against Crystal Palace, but in that Chelsea game, we were all at sea. We could not handle Chelsea going forward, and that is obviously a little bit of a worry. And I think Mikel Antonio will be licking his lips at that back line somewhat. But I think if we can nullify those two threats, Yarmolenko and Mikel Antonio, I think we'll be fine in the game. But we have to take our chances as well. And David, I want to ask you, your score prediction as a neutral. How do you see this game going? And if you want, you don't have to, but if you want, who do you see potentially scoring the goals?
That is a tough question. I mean, if Man United if they put David De Gea in goal, I mean, I think they could lose it. I really do, because I mean, David De Gea really this season, I mean, he really hasn't been as great as he has been in recent seasons for Man United, and I really think he could lose you the game if he starts. But I think if Romero, if he starts, I think could be interesting. So I'm going to say, now I'm not going to get my hopes up here, but I am going to say a 2-2 draw with Mikel Antonio and Yarmolenko scoring for West Ham, and Martial and Rashford for Manchester United. But yeah, it is going to be a really difficult game for Manchester United, and I think definitely this game they've got to make some changes from the Chelsea game. I mean, the Chelsea game, if I can bring it up here, if I can bring that up, if that's all right.
Yeah, go, mate. 100%. I've got over that now. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, the Chelsea game for Manchester United, it just looked like they were a whole different team. I mean, it just looked like you've been doing well with a few results, and then you go into this game, and then it looks like you've just been like really, really sloppy Manchester United side. I mean, the second goal, Brandon Williams completely at fault there, gave the ball away way too easily there.
Yeah.
And De Gea, you can really give him a lot of criticism for that second goal. Really should have done better from the Mason Mount shot, I thought. And yeah, the game in general for Manchester United, I thought it was a very poor performance from them. And if they beat West Ham, I mean, what am I trying to get out? If they beat West Ham, I think that's pretty much the Champions League secure for you. But I am not saying anything, because West Ham, again, very good team, lot of strong players, and I think really could make it a difficult game for you if you do play the same way you played against Chelsea in the FA Cup on Sunday.
Yeah, I think they can. I think they will as well. I think they've got the quality. Obviously, they were down in the relegation zone. There is a reason for that, because they weren't playing the best football. But especially in these big games, it can really turn up and hurt you. And the form they're in right now, you never know what could happen. And all I'm really hoping for is that we play well, and we come out of the traps and we're very hungry to avenge what happened against Chelsea and put right the wrongs that happened. But at the same time, West Ham could come out all guns blazing, could come out to prove a point, and especially with David Moyes, a former manager, he's definitely got an axe to grind against United. And these teams, whenever there's these title run-ins and top four chasing, these really important games in these races, always want to have a part to play. They always want to have have a say in what happens. So I'm sure it's going to be a difficult game for us. But David, mate, thanks for joining as always. Really appreciate it. Hopefully you call on again. I'll definitely love to have you back on the channel whenever you want, mate. And cheers for calling up. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, Kieran, mate. Oh, and guys, also please do subscribe to Red Devil Weekly. He's an absolute lovely guy. Great content. Please do subscribe to his channel.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it. Make sure you do check out Football Fan 148 as well. Really good stuff on there. David, thanks again, mate. Cheers. Have a good rest of your Tuesday.
Yeah. Will do. Cheers, Kieran.
No worries, pal. And that is David Hoyle. Make sure you check him out if you haven't already on Football Fan 148. I'm going to give my score prediction now. I'm going to give my score prediction for the game. My score prediction, because I've realised I hadn't done it. Obviously a lineup prediction for me, I think we're just going to go back to the same 11 that we played against Crystal Palace. So instead of Brandon Williams, I think we're going to see Fossey Mensah at left back. Apart from that, I think it's going to be pretty well. It's just going to be pretty well the same as we saw against Palace. I don't see Solskjaer making too many changes. I think he realised that the way we started against Chelsea and the formation did not work in the slightest, and we were playing decent football when we were in the 4-3-3, and we looked a lot more ruthless, a lot more clinical. So I think we'll see a return to Martial, Rashford and Greenwood as the front three, Bruno, Matic and Pogba in the midfield, with Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Lindelof and Timothy Fossey Mensah at left back. And then I don't think he's going to drop De Gea. It might be big news to some of you guys. I don't think he's going to drop David De Gea, simply because what is the point? What is the point in dropping David De Gea? 2 games left. I just would not understand that decision, especially when you think that in these sort of games you don't want any distractions. If Manchester United were to drop David De Gea, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was to drop David De Gea, can you imagine the furore before the game? Everyone will be talking about it. Everyone will be just focusing on that rather than talking about the game. And if Solskjaer made the big decision to change the goalkeeper, I think it could really affect the defenders in particular mentally. And I do think David De Gea is a decent goalkeeper. No matter how many mistakes he's made, I will always remember him for all those times that he made brilliant saves which saved our arses season in, season out. And I'll always remember him for that. I don't care, whether he's going to be like, some people say he's ruining his legacy. Like, it's absolute tosh. Like, I do not care. Honestly, I'm going to remember him for the good stuff he did for this club. And we should have done a lot better with him in goal. He deserved a much better defence. And I think he deserved much better overall. So I'm not going to be one of those people that wants to kick David De Gea out the door, send him on a bus or whatever. I'm not going to be one of those people. I think we have to remember him for the great stuff that he did for this club. And the idea that we should be, jeering him out and saying, cheerio, mate, we're going to get a better replacement, it's just sad, really. But listen, David De Gea is my goalkeeper for these last 2 games. I think after these last 2 games, then you can think about maybe analysing what's going to happen next. But I don't think you should be doing that when we've got really important fixtures coming up. There's no way we should be dropping anyone, making any big decisions. And some people are saying drop Harry Maguire. I think that's ludicrous as well. Again, dropping someone who's played most of the games this season, your captain, just because of one bad performance against Chelsea. I know he hasn't been brilliant in a lot of games this season, but I just think the worst thing you can do, especially towards the end of the season in really important games, is drop these players, because it just sends a shockwave throughout your team and they start to, unfocus and just be not focused on the right things. So I think they shouldn't be doing that. Asian Gamer says, De Gea saved Man United. Without him, we wouldn't have Pogba and Bruno. Exactly, mate. 100%. Totally agree with what you're saying. And my score prediction in the game, I'm going to go with a 3-0 victory. 3-0 victory for Manchester United. Even though I think West Ham are going to bring the heat, and I think they're going to want to have a say in this top 4 race, so it's not going to be easy for us. But if we are clinical enough, if we're ruthless enough in front of goal, I believe we will create chances against West Ham. I think there are definitely defensive frailties that can be exploited, and if we are ruthless like we are, like we were in all of the other games we had since the restart, I think we can get the job done and win the game 3-0. Asian Gamer going with a 2-1 win to West Ham. Where's the positivity, Asian Gamer? Where's the positivity, man? No, I'm just, obviously it's your opinion, but still, we need this positivity. We need to, support the team, get behind the team, because these are going to be a very, very testing testing week for Manchester United. A very testing week. So we've got to get behind them, and hopefully by the end of this week, or by the end of the game, I'm speaking to you as we've got top 4. One hand on top 4. That's what I want. But listen, I'm going to end it there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please do leave a like if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And I'll see you guys for the Leicester game, so make sure you do subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell as well. Really appreciate that. But anyway, thank you so much to everyone for tuning in as usual. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.